bitch!
And she just assaulted me and spat in my face.
What did you do to my car? What did you do to my car? That's not mine. That's mine. You stupid idiot. Hello? Stupid psycho? You're finding stuff in the street and you're coming to say it's mine? Does the neighbor have cameras? Yes! Yes, they have cameras. I hope they are Jewish and you see how they're going to fuck you. Oh yes, they are Jewish. They are my people. Don't run, stay here. Stay here. They are my own people.
So once again, we have another instance of somebody feeling very, very entitled. In this case, feeling very entitled to parking in front of somebody's driveway. And when asked to move, of course, they are responded to with just a racist backlash, which is something that I think we need to talk about more broadly, which is specifically anti-Asian racism and how that has greatly escalated, especially since coronavirus pandemic. You obviously had Donald Trump that called it the China virus and stoked all of these anti-Asian sentiments, and that led unfortunately to a huge increase against hate crimes against Asian Americans. And then on top of that, you have that continuing with all of the fear mongering about TikTok to the point where now in Florida they actually are trying to pass this bill. Republicans are that would quite literally ban Chinese Americans from owning property. And so you just see this pattern of all of this entitlement and this racism, and it's just been this continuous escalation that we've seen. And it's one of those things where the political reality that these politicians talk about, spewing all of this hatred and vitriol and xenophobia, translates very directly into these individual behaviors that we see people engage in on the streets. I mean, quite literally, all of this Karen content comes from people who are just sort of echoing the same sort of racist sentiments, the same sort of entitlement that they're being told by these right-wing politicians, which really comes down to this solipsism that I think a lot of the right wing has bought into, just this idea that they're the main character, right? That they're the most important person, and anything they do, even if they know it's wrong, is justified because they're the most important person. So their reasoning must be the reason that is the one that makes perfect sense and makes everything totally acceptable. And anybody that challenges them or asks them to slightly change their behavior in any way, to ask them to maybe be mindful of another person, and all of a sudden they will they will go on these breakdowns and just completely lash out at anybody around them that asks them to have a teeny bit of empathy. And of course, that is where you're gonna see people begin to also then start pushing these same racist things and stuff. And so unfortunately, this is another instance of just somebody very much putting their entitlement on display, putting their racism on display, but it also speaks to this greater trend across the country that we are seeing of anti-Asian racism and a lot of very public hatred of Asian folks in the United States. And it's one of those things that very much we need to make sure that we are holding elected Republicans responsible for pushing these same narratives. And unfortunately, elected Democrats too, because there were a lot of Democrats that very much jumped on the bandwagon of both trying to blame China for the coronavirus and fear mongering about TikTok as well, because it's just kind of politically convenient. And so that's just another Karen, I guess, showing off how entitled and racist so many Americans unfortunately are.